Okay, so to begin the DIY, I've taken my baskets outside and I will be spraying them with the Krylon hammered finish in silver, and it is from their craft series, and I really love this spray paint. It is great for indoors and outdoors, and I will probably be giving these a couple of coats. I'm not going to worry about the inside of the basket since I will be adding filler, so I'm really just concentrating on the outside. Taking my pumpkins out back, being that it's a well-ventilated area, it's great for spraying these pumpkins since they are lightweight. Sometimes outside with that little bit of wind, it'll just knock them over, so it's great to spray them in the back. So today I will be using the paint and primer in semi-gloss white from Rust-Oleum, but you can definitely use the acrylic paint that the Dollar Tree carries. I love using that paint with these types of pumpkins, but because of lack of time and I want to get the video out to you as quick as possible, I'm just using the Rust-Oleum paint and primer to get the job done quicker. So I will give these pumpkins a couple of coats and we will move on to the next step. So my basket has finished drying. Now I didn't worry so much about the inside of the basket as I did to the outside, because the inside will be filled by this Excelsior that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, as well as I will be placing some stones that I just picked up from my backyard inside of the basket. So I did use the whole bag of this to fill the inside of the basket. I have this one done here. And as you can see, I just placed my stones in the center of the basket. And the reason for the stones is because this piece is fairly lightweight. The basket is plastic and the pumpkins are styrofoam. So I just wanted to add a little bit of weight to make this piece more sturdy. Now I take my largest pumpkin, which will be the first pumpkin that I place on my basket. So it will sit on there like that. But the first thing I need to do before I glue it down is I need to take off the stem of the pumpkin. Now these come off fairly easily because they are just held in with a toothpick. So all I did was I just twisted and turned, and then the top will come right off. And then I just pull out the toothpick, and there is a little bit of orange from the way the pumpkin was originally, but we don't need to worry about that because the next pumpkin that I'm going to place on top will cover that. Okay, so now I am ready to place my first pumpkin inside of the basket and glue it in place. So you're gonna find that this pumpkin does not really cover the lip of the basket. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some E6000 glue, and then all along the inside of the rim of the basket, I'm going to apply some E6000 glue. And then I will also take my hot glue, and then here and there just dab a little bit of glue, and then place my pumpkin inside. And then I will firmly push down and hold it in place until that hot glue adheres to the pumpkin and the basket. Pumpkin is glued in place, and you can keep it just like this if you prefer. But I'm going to be covering the top of, or the rim of the basket with some jute twine. So since I'm going to be doing that, and I'm just doing that really because I think that it just really gives it a nice finish, but there is some gaps in between the pumpkin and the basket. So before I wrap it, I'm just going to apply some more hot glue in there because I really want to make sure this pumpkin stays in place. So once I've done that, then I will start applying my jute twine, and I will actually bring the jute twine to fit over top of that glue so you won't see anything, and there'll be a nice seamless finish between the pumpkin and then the rim of the basket. So once I'm done doing that, it will look like this. Okay, so now originally I was going to be using 3 pumpkins on top of this large pumpkin, but I've changed my mind and I'm only going to be using 2 smaller pumpkins stacked on top of this one here. So what I'm going to do is take my next pumpkin, and what I did was I just took the stem out of the pumpkin. Okay, then you're going to want to place your pumpkin on top of the bottom pumpkin just to see where it sits the best. Okay, so I'm going to place that pumpkin there. So now for this, I'm just going to again use just a dab of hot glue, actually of E6000 glue. You really don't need to use the E6000 glue with the styrofoam on the styrofoam, but I'm just putting a couple drops. And just place it on top. Okay, and then with my top pumpkin now, I will do the exact same thing. I just took the stem out of the pumpkin, and then I'll find where I feel that it sits the best, and then I'll glue that down as well. Okay, so now I'm going to take my salt and pepper owl that I spray painted. I'm just going to add some E6000 glue and some hot glue to the bottom of this, and then place it at the very top of the pumpkins. Now with this next step, I'm just going to put a little embellishment around the bottom of the owl attached to the pumpkin. And all I'm going to do is just make a jute twine braided rope. So just 3 equal lengths of the size that you want. You tie a knot at the top, you braid the rope, tie it off, and then if you want even tassels, you could just fold your rope together and have the knots touching, and then just cut it off with your scissors so that they are both even. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around, so place it in the back of the owl, and then I'm just going to tie it once and then pull snug. So I will glue this in the back and then just in the front to keep it in place, and then where the knots are, I will just place a little bit of hot glue to keep this down. Added a little bit of lighting behind me so that you could see this a little bit better. I'm sorry about the lighting. So now I have glued on my jute twine around the owl and then onto the pumpkin, and I think it looks so cute. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my magnets. Now the Dollar Tree sells two different sizes that I've seen, a smaller and then this size here. For this project, the larger size will work perfectly. So I'm just going to be gluing a couple of magnets, one on top of the owl's head and then the other in the center of the basket. Now a little tip when you're gluing down your magnets, I just go ahead and take the two magnets, the one that will go on the owl and then the other one I will be gluing to the bottom of a tea light candle. So you just want to place them together to make sure that they are facing the right way so that they will not repel. Because there's been times when I've done it and I glue it down first, I don't check, and then when I go to place my item on top, then it doesn't go together well. So I'm just going to take some E6000 glue, place a dab in the center, and then fill the rest with my hot glue, and then I will place it on the owl in the center of the basket, and then we'll move on to the next. Moving on, I'm just going to take that magnet, that second magnet on top of the owl, and I will be gluing this to the back of a plain tea light candle that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. So this will be glued to the cover of where the battery goes. So I'm just going to take that cover off, and with my E6000 glue and my hot glue, I will just glue the magnet on top. Once this is dry, then I will put it back in place and we will move on to the next step. Okay, so I placed my cover back on the tea light candle, but I don't want to leave the tea light this way. I want to dress it up just so that it flows with the rest of the piece. So to do that, I'm going to be using my jute twine and just wrapping it around the tea light candle. You can either start from the top and work your way down. I usually just start in the middle and then do the top separately, and then once you have that done, then we will be able to put it on the owl's head. Now I already did one here, and what I want to explain as well is that I don't want this magnet to be seen, this one or the one on the owl's head. So once I got to the edge of the tea light candle, I just continued wrapping about 2 rows down, and I just placed my jute twine on top of the jute twine, if that makes sense. So this way I have 2, so you can see here, the edges here, and then I have 2 rows past that edge. And that really worked perfectly, enough to stay on the owl's head. If you do one too much, because I did do that and then I had to remove it, it didn't sit flat on the owl's head or on top of the magnet, so the tea light candle wouldn't stay in place. So again, 2 rows works perfectly past that edge, at least it did for me. And once you have that complete, we will move on to our next step. beginning of this DIY, I started out with 4 pumpkins. I was planning to stack all 4 pumpkins on top of each other. But once I decided I wanted the owl at the top, really the 3 pumpkins were the perfect height. Now I still have this 1 pumpkin left over, and I do still want to incorporate it into this DIY. But instead of stacking it, I will just be gluing it to the side of the pail at the very bottom. This way I'll add a little bit of white to the bottom of the pail. It makes the piece a little bit wider, and I think it looks adorable beside the pail. So I'm going to go ahead and, using my E6000 glue and hot glue, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the pumpkin and stick it to the side, and once this is dry I will show you the final reveal. Alright everyone, so here are the owl fall decor pieces that I made from the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love how they have turned out. I definitely feel that these look much more expensive than what I actually paid for them, and again, I'm so pleased. Now I went ahead and made another one because I knew that I was going to be displaying these right here on each side of my mirror. But the one on the left, I just wanted to show you another option. I did not place a magnet there. I simply just purchased the chalk tags from the Dollar Tree. You definitely get a better bang for your buck, as you get 4 to 6 chalk tags depending on the size in a package. And you know, they still give a really beautiful effect. It definitely looks farmhouse just the same, and the great thing is that you can personalize it and write whatever you want on it. And then, you know, if you decide that you just want to have nothing there just to see the pail, then you just take it off and you have another look, just like that. The pails I love. I'm so happy with how they turned out. They definitely look or remind me of the metal pails that I would see at various farms. And the best part is that you do get 2 for $1.25, so that's a great deal. I'm so glad that I ended up using that 4th pumpkin, and I knew that I was going to have them side by side, so I placed one on each side just to balance it out, and I absolutely love how it brought the white down to the side of the pail, just to add a little bit of whiteness at the bottom. And again, so pleased with how this turned out. Now in the center here, I just wanted to show you, these are the metal discs that come with the magnets when you purchase them at the Dollar Tree, and I do like to keep these because I think that they're great to use in various DIYs. Here I'm showing that I just took some jute twine and made one of the jute twine braided ropes and just went around the edge, and you know, it's great. I could definitely use this on my DIY here as well, and I think it would give it a really nice look. And then you could just purchase the pens at the Dollar Tree, you know, the ones that aren't permanent, they're like the Sharpie, and then just personalize it again with whatever you want, and when you want to change it, just wipe it off. So I think it's really great idea. If you have these, I mean, keep them. You could definitely use them for something else. Now here I use the magnets from the Dollar Tree, and I love the magnets from the Dollar Tree. Whenever I see new ones, I like to grab them because they are really adorable. Some of them, the heavier ones, I find don't stick as well to the fridge or other projects that I have, but these ones are a little bit more lightweight and they work better. However, even for this project here, I found that, and another way that you can use these metal discs is that sometimes I would put the magnet on and it would stay fine, and then sometimes it would slide off. Most likely because I'm sticking the magnet to the magnet. If I had put this right on the fridge, I'd have no problem. So what I do is I just take one of these metal discs and I just place it right on the magnet, and then I place the Dollar Tree magnet right on top like that, and it really stays much better.
And I mean, why not? This is free. So, I mean, when you buy the magnets, it's free. So it's just an easy solution to keep these magnets staying up nice, and you know, this way I can use them for projects such as this, and I know that they're gonna stay in place. Okay, and moving on up to the tea light candle, I'm so happy that I decided to wrap the jute twine around. It sort of reminds me of the bales of hay when they roll them up and you see them on the farms. It definitely adds a little bit to this owl, and I think it looks really, really cute. So that'll do it for this DIY. I'm so pleased with the results. It definitely, if I haven't said it, I think I did, but it definitely looks more expensive than what I actually spent to make this. And again, I am so pleased with the final outcome. I hope that you enjoyed this DIY. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, take care, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.